Zakah is a form of almsgiving and it is an obligatory duty for every Muslim. Allah says in the Quran, "So establish Salah and give Zakah and hold fast to Allah." Surah Al-Hajj, Ayah 78. Only those who are eligible to receive Zakah may claim it. We refer to them as Asnaf. There are many benefits of Zakah to both the payer and the recipient. Firstly, the payer can purify their wealth from impurities and remove any greed or ill desire from their heart. Meanwhile, the recipient can be relieved of any difficulties and further improve the quality of their life and well-being. The main question is, how far does Zakah impact one's community? In today's video, we will be looking at the impacts of Zakah from three main aspects. Firstly, in terms of the people's welfare. Secondly, as a means of wealth redistribution. And lastly, on the aggregate consumption of the economy.
First one is about people's welfare. Now let's talk about the impact of Zakah in terms of people welfare. It's often regarded as the largest tool for poverty reduction and economic welfare in the Islamic economic framework. But it can bring not only material benefits, but also spiritual benefits. It's of great significance to individuals and society. I will introduce it in three parts. Zakah is of great significance in eradicating poverty and further improving the quality of life of Asnaf, regardless of amount of Zakah received. Such assistance can at least reduce the burden of the poor in providing necessary goods to their families and reduce the level of poverty in daily life, should change their lifestyles. By denying part of their ways to those in need, Zakah enables the rich to evolve their hearts, restrain their greedy desires, purify their inner self, and purify waste, reduce income and waste inequality. Zakah can motivate savers to invest because they must pay Zakah for holding and saving resources, shows helping to push resources to the productive sector and graduate income for individuals and communities.
Zakah also gives impacts on wealth distribution in Malaysia. The Zakah system promotes equitable wealth redistribution and has a broad impact on society, and Zakah helps to close the gap between the rich and the poor. Zakah administration intends collecting Zakah from Zakah payers and distributing it to the 8 Zakah recipients such as the poor, the needy, the wayfarer, the heavily indebted, Zakah administrators, freedom of slave, new convert to Islam, and the cause of Allah. According to the findings of the study, the influence of Zakah distribution causes households' monthly income to increase. Before the Zakah distribution, the bottom population received only 12.62% of total income, while the highest population received more than 40% of total income. By examining these two, we can conclude that income distribution prior to the Zakah distribution was unequally divided. But after the Zakah distribution, the society's income distribution slightly increased, with the bottom population receiving more than 2% of total income and the top 10% of the population's income falling to 29%. As a result, Zakah distribution has demonstrated its efficiency in increasing wealth redistribution in Malaysia. Therefore, the gap between the rich and the poor will diminish.
So, the last impact that we will be talking about is the impacts of Zakah on the aggregate consumption in Malaysia.
First and foremost, Zakah, which is the Islam's third pillar, is an obligatory religious tax placed on a wide range of physical and financial assets, including income, savings and investments, produce, product inventory, saleable crops and livestock, and also precious metals. Zakah distribution is said to boost the Ummah's economic well-being based on findings from a variety of empirical studies on Zakah. According to the study's findings, Zakah distribution in Selangor is proven to reduce poverty rates, poverty gaps, and income distribution gaps. When Zakah beneficiaries receive more money, poverty and income disparities are lessened, which has an impact on public consumption. When the recipients spend their earnings on expenditure, total consumption rises and total savings fall. Therefore, in Islamic states, Zakah should be utilized as a major fiscal policy tool as it has a positive impact on real GDP growth and thereby minimizes macroeconomic fluctuations.
conclusion, Zakah gives a tremendous number of impacts on our society in Malaysia, whether it would be in terms of the people's welfare, the wealth redistribution between the citizens, or in terms of the aggregate consumption of the country. The first aspect focused on improving the quality of life of the poor, while the second aspect focused on minimizing the gap between the rich and poor Malaysians. On the other hand, the final aspect explores the impact of Zakah from the view of the macroeconomic stabilization of the country. The main goal of performing Zakah is not only to fulfill our duties as loyal servants to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but to provide aid in lifting the daunting issue of poverty for the misfortunate, as that would also indirectly play a significant part in bettering the economy as a whole. It is also important for institutions that carry out the collections of Zakah to be efficient and organized. Hence, performing Zakah itself as well as endorsing it in order to gain a tighter grasp on the impacts of Zakah whilst enhancing these Zakah institutions are yet another one of our many responsibilities to create an ummah that thrives both socially and economically.